Okay, welcome to week 5. Hopefully this will not give me any really weird faces like I often see when I start these out. So we're going to talk about the dynamics of the court, the dynamics of justice, and how the court works this week. Last week you got your paper topics in. Word of caution, I've seen a lot of stuff like plea bargains and insanity defense, and I see these all the time, and almost always they come out like a report. You know, the insanity defense, these are the different types of insanity defense. This is how often they're used, how often they're successful, and then kind of it. Very little research and not nearly the kind of analysis I'd like to see in the paper. So be really, really careful of that. Say plea bargains, one, insanity defense is another. And make sure that you are looking to, to other solutions maybe, something like that. This week, you have an exam, 50-question multi-guess with a short essay. It opens up later in the week. The reason is because I want you to take time to prepare for the exam and not just pop the exam open and then run through it and hope you do well. I'd like to see you really take some time on it and do well with it. With the courthouse and the book and the slide deck gives you some information about how the courtroom works, how it looks, where people are at. This is a key thing in a criminal trial. The prosecution is always next to the jury box. So just kind of it's something for you to think about. In the one thing that's come up is courtroom security. Now metal detectors before you can actually even get into the courthouse. A level of security screening, all dynamics that we're starting to see. Fortunately everywhere, but emotions run really high. There are winners and losers. So you be aware that that is one concept of the courtroom in the courthouse that will continue to evolve and change. Hopefully to make it safe for everybody there, whether it's the judge or a visitor who wants to see how the process works. When we talk about dynamics of justice, we're solidly in a crime control model in the courthouse. Now, what that means is that we're bringing in tons of cases, and without some way to rapidly deal with cases, the courtroom would quickly be buried in cases and activity and just be unable to work. The counter side of that is that idea of a speedy trial. It's involvement in a domestic violence case where I was assisting defense counsel, where I didn't want you to think I was the defendant, but I bet some of you might have gone to that conclusion. But in any event, one of the strategies by the defense was to push trial out, and the reason is to see what was going to happen with the complaining witness. And the complaining witness was a big problem for the prosecution because the complaining witness kept calling the defendant, trying to get together and spend time and continue their romantic relationship, even though he was facing prison time behind this assault. That case took 2 years to get to trial. So, with that, that idea is, you got to find a courtroom. And once we want to go to trial, we had to wait to find a courtroom. So answered ready, and then 3 weeks later, I guess, we finally got a courtroom, but it wasn't even in the courthouse where the case came from. The case originated in Harbor Court, Orange County, and we had to go to West Court for trial. Kind of an interesting dynamic. So assembly line justice. I'd be really aware of that and the idea of the plea bargain, how that plea bargain process works, what the goal is, and the fact that it's just absolutely necessary. Interesting point, though. If on a societal basis we continue to move to a due process approach, what's going to be the result? How are we going to handle this concept of formal fact finding? And I don't know. I think it's a very interesting problem that we face. When you look at the trial process, one of the things that we have to be aware of is the idea of discretion. And that starts with the cop in the field. What are they going to, first of all, are they going to arrest? Second off, is this a citable offense? Is this a misdemeanor? It can be cited. Is it a misdemeanor that can be booked based on 853.6 of the Penal Code? That's been a few years. And if we're going to arrest, then what are we going to charge? Then it goes to the prosecutor. The prosecutor has to read the report and then make a determination on what to charge. Look at DUI. DUI gets charged quite frequently as the DUI itself, and sometimes plea bargained. It may be plea bargained, but it may be sentence bargaining as opposed to charge bargaining to make sure that DUI stays on a person's driving record, and people understand. And any future DUIs can be dealt with as a continuing problem. So the next person that has discretion, and the prosecutor, in what they charge, how they charge it, how they deal with plea bargains. The judge has discretion during the entire process, and controlling that discretion is a significant issue for the justice system, whether it's the police officer, the district attorney, or the judge. Really important. The last big topic for this week is the idea of the courtroom work group. Courtroom's got to work together. Defense counsel has to work with prosecutors. They both have to work with the judge. Absolutely necessary for this assembly line justice to work properly. If we don't have this kind of process going on, then we have potential for some big issues. As far as delay and this right to trial, right to speedy trial goes. So pay particular attention to the idea of the assembly line justice, the discretion area, and the courtroom work group. You're going to see all this stuff again, perhaps this week. All right, that being said, good luck on the exam. Make sure you spend some time with it. I hope you do very well. With that being said,